Good morning. Today we are moving on to graphing the next two trig functions. We'll be working with cosecant, which remember is a reciprocal of sine, and secant, which is a reciprocal of cosine. So the first thing that we need to do is to rewrite our equation, and we actually are going to graph we want to graph the reciprocal function of this first. So let's do that. Let's first write it. Y equals sine x minus pi over 4. And then the first thing that we really want to do in graphing that, okay, let's graph that. So we know that we have to move pi over 4 to the right. That tells us pi over 4 is 3 of our lines. So let's go 3 lines. That would put us here at 3 to the right of that. Our ending point is down here. Our midpoint will be 3 to the right there. We come 3 to the right and go up 1. And we go 3 to the right and down 1. So hopefully you've become really pretty good at being able to draw your sines and cosines. So if we just had to graph y equals sine x minus pi over 4, we've moved everything over 3 lines to the right, or pi over 4. The next thing when we start looking at cosecant is we're going to have asymptotes. Our asymptotes will be drawn where we have zeros, or what crosses over our midline. So since we have our starting point is on the midline, we can see that we will actually have an asymptote at that point. We'll have another asymptote at our end point because it is on our midline as well. And one more asymptote in the middle where we will have the third asymptote. When we draw the actual function of y equals cosecant, we go to the points that are up above, such as right here, and we are going to draw a smooth curve that approaches our asymptotes. So we have part of the branch going that direction, part of the branch going that direction. The red part is the graph of cosecant. We have the other one that's over here that we will draw coming down this way and coming down this way. So when you take a look at it, you really just have the blue part should be drawn very, very lightly. The green should be dashed lines that are drawn as our asymptotes. And then the red part is the actual curve of cosecant. Okay? Now let's take a look at another example. Our other example is for secant. If we were talking that we wanted to do y equals 2 secant x minus 3. All right, again, the first thing that we want to be able to do is let's rewrite this using the reciprocal function. So we want to always begin by either graphing the sine or the cosine, the reciprocal functions of these. So this would be y equals 2 and secant's reciprocal of cosine. And then we have x minus 3. Now, if we want to take a look at graphing this particular one, what we have, we know that there's, first of all, it's going to be graphed down 3 units. So let's draw a line very, very lightly, 3 units down. That will be our midline. Now, once we have our midline, we know that we're not going to have to move right or left. All we need to do is draw the cosine function, stretch it 2 units as tall. So let's do this. Let's go with starting at 0. we normally from our midline go up 1, but we're going to stretch it twice as tall. It's in the positive direction. So let me get a different color here. Let's go back to blue. So we're going to be 2 units above here, 2 units above down here. Our midpoint will be 2 units below. And then we know halfway in between, we're on the axis and we're on the axis. So when we kind of draw, that would be our graph of y equals 2 cosine of x minus 3. We've just stretched it out. We moved it down 3 units. Okay? Now again, like what we were talking about with the other one, we're going to have asymptotes. This time our asymptotes are where the graph of cosine crosses our midline. So you can see where the yellow and the blue intersect would be at this point right here. So that's going to be where one of our asymptotes will be drawn. Our other asymptote will be drawn over here. Let's see if I can move this up a little. Let's extend these on down just a little. Okay, now to draw then your curve for secant, we will go just like we did in the last one. We'll start here and we will draw a smooth curve that will approach both of the asymptotes. Up here, where we had our high point, we only have the one asymptote, so it's like we're only drawing half of that curve. Now, had we continued to draw 2 periods of cosine, we could have continued to have more U-shaped graphs. And the other one, same thing as over here. It's going to approach this side. So again, as you take a look at this, we moved our graph down. That's what's in yellow to our midline. The blue is our reciprocal function about cosine. And then we drew in our green asymptotes where our graph crosses that midline, where it makes it zeros. And then the red part is the actual graph for the secant. We will continue to practice these. Just want to give you the notes so that you have that idea. Have a great day.